You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
I am joined this week by our other host, the incredible Huck, Will Huckaby. How are you today, Huck?
I'm doing great, but hold on, Zane. We gotta kind of edit that. You also have to say the World Wrestling Grand Prix champion and winner of the inaugural Jimmy Clydesdale Memorial Cup.
Well, I am a ring announcer, but that's a little too wordy for me to give off the top of my head. So why don't you just introduce yourself?
Ladies and gentlemen, also hosting the show tonight, the winner of the inaugural Jimmy Clydesdale Memorial Cup and the new reigning and defending World Wrestling Grand Prix champion, the incredible Huck, William Huckaby.
Well, congratulations, champ. Where's this championship out of?
The championship is based out of Dog Wrestling, Dangerous Alliance Wrestling Gladiators out of New Jersey and stuff. I went up there the last weekend of October, and really, we've been on kind of a hiatus with the election and everything going on, to actually announce it to everybody. So I've been the champion now for about 3 weeks, and I have my first title defense actually this Thursday.
This on Thanksgiving, you have a title defense?
Yes, but come on, man. Wrestling and Thanksgiving go together like peas and carrots.
Oh, I know. I was at a great show last Thanksgiving here in Indy, so you're going to be traveling up to New Jersey on Thanksgiving Day, huh?
Oh no, actually, the Grand Prix championship is a traveling championship. I can actually defend it any and everywhere. Some of the past winners were the actual first Grand Prix champion was the new NWA National Champion Damian Wayne, Chance Prophet, was it Shorty Smalls was one of the champions and stuff. So it's a traveling championship. Unlike a lot of promotional or company titles and stuff, this is actually a traveling championship.
Well, congratulations, buddy. Where are you going to be defending it on Thanksgiving Day?
I will be in Asheboro, North Carolina for CWS Asheboro. Taking on, a new up and comer and stuff, based out of North Carolina. His name is Boss Hog Vinny Dalton. Great look, I really like the kid and stuff. I've trained with him several times, but, he asked for a title shot, and so, I'm a champion's champion. And that's like Drew Skills, I don't run away from anybody, so, I agreed to the match.
Excellent. So, did you do anything nerdy this week?
Did I do anything nerdy this week? Actually, yes. But because I had 2 sick kids in the house, I was actually a huge wrestling nerd this week, and I actually watched every Tanahashi and Okada match in existence. I actually went back and because I have New Japan World now and stuff, and so I actually went back and watched every Tanahashi Okada match that I could find.
So you have New Japan World, which is what, 999 yen? So it's $8 US.
Yes, it's right there, $8. It's a little under $8 actually. It's $7.78, $7.80, something like that. But you might say $8.
That's awesome. So were there any that stood out of all their matches together?
The last two huge ones are Wrestle Kingdom. Of course, I think besides their first match, I think the last 2 Wrestle Kingdom matches were probably my favorite ones. But the funny thing about watching them take on each other is that you can see when you watch them back to back to back, you can see where these guys are taking spots and stuff from previous matches and working them in the new matches and reversing moves and stuff. And you can see how when you watch them in the ring now, why it looks like they know each other so well and stuff. And it's completely entertaining and stuff. I recommend that to anybody.
Well, that is awesome. I did something fairly nerdy this past weekend, wrestling related. I went and saw our old buddies at Old Wrestling in Muncie, Indiana. They put on a great show. I finally got to meet in person our friend Jock Sampson, who was hitting the moonshine a little too hard. Great show, had a lot of fun, and if anybody gets to check out Old Wrestling, buy their DVDs. They're like $5 a piece. Great thing, and a lot of fun.
Hey, Zane, so I have a question now, then.
Sure.
Because you said you met Jock Sampson. Did you hang out with him and become an honorary member of the 450 Club?
No, I did not. This was the first wrestling show I've gone to in a very long time where I was just a fan there, and I paid my admission fee and did some mark photos. Got to meet Matt Cross, and he was a really cool guy. Got to see our good friend Gregory Iron. But no, I did not get a big chance to hang out with Jock. I just said hello and mentioned that I was buddies with you and got a photo.
See, he didn't tell you any embarrassing stories about it, did he?
No, we really it was just at the end of intermission. I grabbed a quick photo and he had to go back up.
Okay, I'm just checking because man, we've had some pretty wild nights in West Virginia. And I was afraid that he had told a couple of stories or something.
Well, maybe we need to get him back on the show. We need to get him on the Wrestling Nerdcast to talk about those stories.
How about we just get him on the show and just talk about wrestling and not about what happens after the wrestling?
Well, but that's part of the fun of our show. It's not just about wrestling.
Well, speaking of wrestling and stuff, man, I actually traveled to Florida this weekend. Traveled all the way to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for Brainbuster Pro this weekend. It was like a 17-hour drive. When people talk about,
Oh, go ahead.
When people talk about doing the drives, man, that's a drive right there. It's a 17-hour drive. It was me and Joe Black, now known as Joseph Agal, that you can catch on ROH. You know, he's wrestling for ROH and stuff now. About to make his TV debut versus Anthony Genazzo and Josh Powers, two great guys out of South Carolina. And you know, if people follow me on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, they would have seen the results of the match and stuff where, you know, I kind of had to leave Joe to fend for his stuff, and then I had to come back and teach him a lesson.
Oh my!
Oh yeah, I had to debut a new finisher.
What's it called?
I really haven't do it. I think I'm gonna call it the Death from Above. It's a package power bomb. So I think I'm gonna name it the Death from Above. I'm not sure yet.
Awesome. All right, well, get up on your feet, put your hands together, sing along with the 3 count. We'll party forever. This is the 3 count. So count 1 is WWE ran Survivor Series this past weekend. They had a 2-hour pre-show, and then the actual event was supposed to be 4 hours. It ended up being a little under that, about 3 hours and 45 minutes, with a pay-per-view that spans 6 hours, Monday Night Raw that spans 3 hours, SmackDown, which spans 2 hours, NXT, which spans an hour. The new 205 Live next week starts, and that's another hour. Then we've got TNA for 2 hours. We've got Lucha Underground for an hour. ROH, if it's available in your market, is an hour. Is there just too much wrestling on today? And what were your thoughts on the big Survivor Series matches?
I don't think that there's too much wrestling going on. I think that now I think that, you know, it's great that we have so many choices when it comes to wrestling. If you don't like the family-friendly product of WWE, you have Lucha Underground. If you don't like, you know, the Survivor Survivor feel, because, you know, the guy who produces Survivor and stuff also produces Lucha Underground. What's his name? Mark Burnett. If you don't like the Mark Burnett style of wrestling, you know, you have ROH, which is more based on athleticism and stuff. And you don't like the fast-paced, no-selling, strong style of ROH, but you don't like WWE, you can always go to TNA. If you are always tired of seeing big guys wrestle or whatever, you want something fast-paced, but you still want a family-friendly entertainment, now you have the cruiserweights. I think that it's great that people have so many choices. I think that we need more wrestling on TV, because the more wrestling we have on TV, the more there are guys getting jobs. There are more of the boys and the ladies making a living at a sport that we all love.
Oh,
now,
well, I didn't even mention the NXT TakeOver event also on Saturday night. So really, if you're watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan World, you probably got in a lot of wrestling this past weekend.
Oh, definitely. You know what I'm saying? But you know the good thing about all this wrestling, another good thing about all this wrestling is, Zane?
What's that?
Is that it's giving, you know, social media is going on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and stuff. and it's giving guys exposure. And it's, we all know that if somebody moves up, the spaces that they leave behind, somebody has to fill. So now there are guys and ladies on the indies who are having to, who get a chance to step into a spot, an Evolve or a championship wrestling from Hollywood or a Dragon Gate or, even New Japan. There are always spots that's being opened up, which is a great thing about that. I love the fact that you have NXT was on Saturday, because, I like the fact it's on Saturday because now that's another thing, another day for people to watch wrestling and stuff. But the great thing about NXT is the fact that it's very similar to indie wrestling with a big show feel. If you took an indie show and you put Vince's money behind it and stuff, that's NXT and stuff. And from what I've heard, I haven't had a chance to really watch all of the NXT TakeOver. From what I heard, the guys from Carolina really stole the show. The Revival, Dash Wilder and Dawson and stuff, had a great tag team match against Gargano and Ciampa. And then I heard Bobby Roode and Cedric Alexander, my homeboy Cedric, probably stole the show, man. So it's really great, to see guys who are used to working in the indies have that, not really have to change their style up, and get to do the stuff that made them famous and got them noticed, but they got Vince's backing behind them. Okay, so who was your all-star for the weekend? My wrestling all-star for the weekend. Because I follow wrestling and I'm a student of the game, I would have to say my wrestling all-star for the weekend would have to go to Anthony Henry, a great wrestler who's just now, I guess a lot of people consider him an indie darling now, but he's based out of Augusta, Georgia. He just had there's a company in North Carolina called Pro Wrestling Experience. They had their big, huge tournament, the X16, which is 16 competitors, 2 days worth of shows. Anthony Henry fought through everybody, and it had a really, really good, I guess the main event was him and Ethan Case, who was another really great wrestler out of the Southeast and stuff, man. They really stole the show. Anthony Henry, had, 3-4 matches in 2 days, which anybody knows that is just brutal on your body, man. Having 3-4 matches in 2 days is just, horrific. And can really take years off of your career stuff if you take the wrong bump. But he went through the entire tournament, came out on top, man, and he's definitely my pick for this week. Well, a couple of things I found surprising from this past weekend was, and this really hasn't got much hype, is that Jim Ross here on the NXT program, he was sitting in the crowd and they highlighted him. That wasn't by accident. And I'm kind of surprised that more of the wrestling media outlets haven't picked up on that. Do you know of anything going on with Jim Ross coming back to WWE? No, I don't think so. I think if anything, Jim Ross might come back, You remember at one point Jim Ross was in charge of talent relations. He was the head of talent relations, and he was responsible, for Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar and John Cena and all these guys and stuff. He was really responsible for bringing in athletes and former collegiate football players and wrestlers into the WWE program. So maybe the Johnny Ace era of wrestling is over and they're bringing back good old JR. Maybe. What was your take on the before we move on from Survivor Series weekend, what was your take on the Brock Lesnar and Goldberg main event? I loved it. I posted, if anybody follows me on Facebook, find me at William Huckaby. If you can't be my friend or whatever, at least follow me. I laid out 3 good reasons why it made sense for Goldberg to win that match. My biggest reason, my favorite reason, is it gives like we've talked before, on other shows and stuff, and other podcasts in the past, Zane, there's nothing better than when you have that anything can happen at any time feel. That, it doesn't always have to be a 15, 20, 30-minute wrestling clinic. Sometimes short and sweet is better. I love the fact that, people were expecting for them to have like a 15-minute classic and just 2 behemoths just slugging it out, and it was like, nope, we got one over on you. It was, to me, that match was more realistic than anything else that's happened in WWE this year. And the reasons why I'm saying that is because, first of all, everybody knows that the reason why Brock Lesnar had to stop wrestling at one point, he had to stop fighting in UFC at one point, was because he had diverticulitis, which affects his abdomen region. What was the first two things that Goldberg did? He gave him a spear in the abdomen. So now, the guy's always softened up. And not only the fact that, not even taking away the fact he had diverticulitis, Goldberg was a former NFL lineman. For people who have never played, organized football before, for people who've never played, sandlot football, you get hit by somebody in the gut at full speed, it hurts. Now imagine getting hit by somebody with the experience and the size and the actual talent like Goldberg and have him hit you, not once, but twice. Then you add in the fact that he had diverticulitis, there you go, he's not getting up. Number two, another reason why I love it is because Goldberg's old. And I'm getting up there in age too, Zane. And if I actually had to, and if it was an actual shoot fight, and I had to fight somebody, who was younger than me, but they're just as big and they're just as strong, I'm going to try to end the fight as fast as humanly possible. I know right now 36, there are 21 and 22-year-olds who are way better conditioning than I am, who can wrestle for a lot longer than I can. If we got to a shoot fight, they could probably last a lot longer in a shoot fight than I could. So my number one goal is to end this fight as fast and as quick as humanly possible. So I totally enjoyed it. I think it brought realism to the match. I think it started a great storyline, not only between them two, but I think it's going to send ripples down the rest of the roster and stuff. So kudos to Creative for coming up with that match.
All right. Count two is, it happened a couple weeks ago, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Joey Styles, during Evolve 72, made what he considered a joke, throwing in President-elect Trump's words about grabbing something. He was immediately fired after the show. It was Evolve's first pay-per-view on the new Flow Slam network. He has since been released also by Chikara. And Chikara said that it is time for us to move away from our misogynist attitudes in professional wrestling. What's your take on it, Will?
Excuse me. I think that Evolve Wrestling was right in their decision. If this was, I think that Joey Styles still thought because he had drawing power because of his name that, he could probably get away with something like that because he didn't use the actual P word, that he could just allude to it and it might be okay. I read their reasoning and their letter, the actual company Evolve's letter for why they discontinued business with Joey Styles, and I read Joey Styles' response and stuff, saying that they had changed up things and it was supposed to be an interview segment and it turned out to not be that. He was just coming off the cuff or whatever. That's still no excuse. We're all professionals. If you're getting guidelines by your boss to say, hey, we want you to do this, but please stay away from this, this, and this. If you break those rules, expect to get punished. And especially the fact that Evolve is doing something, they're no longer a mom and pop company. These guys are trying to do big things. They have a business. They have a business dealings with WWN Live and stuff, which for them is a huge, huge deal. They don't want to mess that up, because even though guys like me and you and Killer Kev and stuff will understand that, hey, Joey's just being one of the boys, and sometimes, you got to be a little controversial or whatever. It's okay. These corporate suits don't want to hear that. You can't go to them and say, oh, I'm sorry, he made a mistake. They don't, that's how you end up losing money, not only for your company, but for the boys and stuff. So while I'm very sad to see that Joey Styles lost his job, because not only did Evolve basically terminate their contract with him, but he also lost, his contracts with Beyond Wrestling and one other company. Was it Dragon Gate or whoever else it was?
I'm not sure. I know it's Chikara.
Oh, yeah, Chikara and Beyond Wrestling also stopped using his services. So, he basically lost 3 jobs because of that one slip-up.
Yeah, but getting to the bigger issue, what about misogyny in professional wrestling? Do you think that we've moved past it, that we don't need to use that storyline any longer about, women are just to be looked at? And, I know that WWE is claiming that they're making some strides by calling them superstars instead of just divas. But, I've been to shows where men have forcibly kissed women. It happened just a few months ago with Ric Flair forcibly kissing Becky Lynch. You know, I think it's an easy thing for people to try to get stories out, but it's also, I've got 2 young kids. I know you've got young kids. You know, should we have, whether they're good guys or bad guys, and especially if they're good guys, forcibly kissing women, saying derogatory things towards women? You know, shouldn't we be past that by now?
Yes and no. I think that we all know, we both know that wrestling is a reflection of society and stuff. And until, you know, society changes its thoughts towards women, wrestling is not. I would like to think that, you know, there are easier ways to get heat as a male if you're involved with a storyline with a female than, like you said, forcibly kiss her or to use derogatory terms and stuff. But that's just, I don't want to say that's the business, but that's the business. Sometimes, you know, especially when you get to a level, when you get to a certain level in this business where it's not you being creative, it's you having somebody tell you what you need to do. While you may disagree with it and stuff, and you might really vocalize your disagreement with it, at the end of the day, a check is a check, and you want to get paid because you have a family to feed and you have bills to pay. With that being said, no, I don't agree with it, with very few exceptions. I think with Ric Flair is the exception because, of course, he's the kiss stealing, really dealing, et cetera, et cetera. So that kind of goes with his gimmick. And he's been doing that shit for 40 years, basically? 40 years he's been doing that.
Yeah, but it's not the 70s any longer. We need to evolve.
No, I mean, but with Ric Flair, when he does it, it's more memory lane, nostalgia, memory lane, or whatever. I don't think that somebody coming into the business right now needs to do that to get over. I think that that's just as cheap as going as you being a local wrestler and you going into a town, grabbing the mic and saying, "Oh, shut up, all you trailer park, toothless, hillbilly, hicks, rednecks," or whatever the case may be. You know, it's cheap heat that people. When you get to a certain level, when you get some experience in this business, leave the cheap heat to the rookies and to the greenhorns and stuff. Once you start, you know, you get 10, 15 years into this business, you need to be able to be way more creative.
All right, I appreciate your thoughts on that. Count 3 is they've started the new season of Total Divas, and obviously one of the big spotlights is going to be Paige and Alberto Del Rio's relationship. But Alberto Del Rio recently had an interview where he said that they can't use his likeness for more than a few seconds, and they will not be able to use his voice on it at all, and they can't even refer to him during the show. They can just show a picture of him for a few seconds. So do you think that that's going to make people even more interested in his career, or do you think that that's going to be just a weird blip on the screen?
I think that it's just going to make I think it's going to take away from the flow of the show. I don't think it's going to make people interested in him whatsoever because, you know, if it's reality TV, you know, it's going to take away from the focus being on Paige or whatever. I think it's either you want to be on the show or you don't want to be on the show. Let's not, you know, sugarcoat and say, "Oh, we'll show you for a few seconds," or "We'll show the picture for like 2 or 3 seconds." Just avoid the guy at all. I mean, it's not unheard of in reality TV and stuff. If memory serves me correct, when Ozzy Osbourne, you know, when they had their reality TV show, there was one of the children that was not on the show whatsoever. Even though the child lived in the house, they never used any film of this kid whatsoever. Do the same thing with Alberto Del Rio. Just don't mention him. Anytime that Paige mentions him, just edit it out.
I just think it's so interesting how they pull this show off because, you know, Eva Marie got suspended from WWE. She still hasn't been back yet, but I think that's just for storyline purposes. She got suspended, but yet she was still filming episodes of Total Divas. It's just weird to me how this whole thing fits into the WWE contracts. Is it a separate contract through E? You know, it's just, it's odd to me. So Will, what do you got coming up this week?
This week, man, is like I said, I got Thanksgiving night. CWS Asheboro in Asheboro, North Carolina, defending the World Wrestling Grand Prix title against Boss Hog Vinny D. And then, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is like the biggest fan fest on the East Coast, in my opinion. It's WrestleCade weekend, man, and I'm telling you, Zane, anybody who's anybody, in the Mid-Atlantic is going to be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina this weekend. Jesus, they got everybody from, Ric Flair to Road Warrior Animal, Jake the St. Roberts is supposed to make an appearance, the Rock and Roll Express, just everybody is going to be there. You have so many legends, so many up-and-coming wrestlers and stuff, so many indie stars. It's 3 days worth of shows. It's 3 days, 4 shows. Friday night is Night of Champions, where like every match is a championship match, basically for a different company in the area. Saturday morning we have the actual WrestleCade Fan Fest, which is for us indie guys and stuff to give us some recognition and stuff. So there's guaranteed to be 3,000 to 5,000 fans here in Winston-Salem this weekend. So it's like a mini WrestleMania weekend.
Well, I know Ronnie Big Bang Nicole is planning to be there.
I was about to say, Ronnie Nicole, I do believe is definitely going to be at the Fan Fest Saturday morning, and I think she actually will be there Sunday, but I'll get to that in a few seconds. So Saturday morning is the Fan Fest, which is for all the indie guys and stuff, and they have like matches, and they have this huge battle royal to make sure, whoever wants to get a spot on the show can at least get a spot on the show. And then Saturday night is the actual WrestleCade show. Jesus, man, I wish they really haven't announced any of the matches. But it's just huge, man. Like I said, it's, in past shows they've had a 4-way tag match with, the Rock and Roll Express versus Haku, formerly known as Ming and the Barbarian, versus the Steiner Brothers versus Tracy Smothers and George South. They've had Matt Hardy versus Zane Dawson. Tommaso Ciampa's made an appearance. Who else? Morrison, what's his name? Jim Morrison, Jack Morrison.
Johnny Mundo.
Johnny Mundo now has made an appearance. Awesome Kong has been there. I mean, Jesus, just anybody and everybody in professional wrestling. TNA stars, former WWE stars. Ryback is going to be there. Cody Rhodes is going to be there. Hornswoggle is supposed to be there. Like, Jesus, man, I'm so excited about Saturday night. And as excited as I am about Saturday night, anybody who knows me knows that I love women's wrestling. I feel that when women's wrestling is done right, it is a remarkable thing, as evidenced by the matches with like Bayley and Sasha and Charlotte. And when it's bad, it's bad. Like some of the matches, I'm not going to mention some of the matches in TNA. One match in particular, TNA. When it's bad, it's really bad. But Sunday is the Queens of Combat, where they have, some of my favorite female wrestlers are going to be there. Ronnie Nicole, Cedric Alexander's wife, Ariel Monroe, Jesus, who else? Jessie Belle Smothers, Jessica Havoc, just all of these ladies and stuff are going to be Taylor Hendricks, Candice LeRae, like Kimberly, like all of these ladies are going to be, Kelly Klein, like all of them are going to be at the Sunday show for Queens of Combat. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's what I got going on this weekend, man. It's going to be a great weekend to network and to meet up with friends that you really don't get to see that often, to go out and, meet some guys who've been in the business and ask some questions. Last year, me and a couple of friends actually hung out with Booker T for like a couple of hours and stuff, and he really gave us some good advice. For anybody who's trying to make it in this business, WrestleCade, things like WrestleCade, Heroes and Legends, fan festivals like that are a good thing to go to, a great thing to go to. Even if you can't be on the show, just being there at the show, being around the boys, feeling the love and stuff, and talking to a lot of these vets and stuff who's been to the big show and stuff and getting the experience and getting the advice is a great opportunity. There's going to be promoters there and bookers there. And like I said, you get a chance to network with other wrestlers who can possibly help you get booked in other areas of the country. So that's what I got going on this weekend, Zane. Sorry for being so long-winded.
Oh, no, that was perfect. You had mentioned our friend Kelly Klein, and she was actually at Old Wrestling this past weekend. She took on Thunder Kitty, who's always one of my favorites. But Kelly Klein was the bearded lady there.
Are you what? That's probably the sexiest bearded lady in the history of bearded ladies.
It was a weird thing. She had a beard for the entire match. Her beard did not come off. And after the match, she came around and she actually stroked my beard. So I am the bearded wonder. She's the bearded wondress.
I will make sure when I see her this weekend to ask her about that.
Am I still on?
Zane?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll make sure that I make sure to ask her about that. For the simple fact, I see her very often. I see her a lot more often than I used to for some reason. I don't know if that means that she's working horrible shows, or if I'm just getting better and working on bigger and better shows. I have no idea what it is, but I'll make sure to ask her about her stint as the bearded lady.
Okay, I don't know if it's on my end or your end. Kev, can you give us anything?
I hear you just fine. You're cutting in and out a little bit, but I can hear you fine right now.
Okay, what about Will?
Will's been fine.
Okay, I haven't been hearing Will. I'm sorry.
Zane, can I mention something real quick?
Go ahead.
I got to say, 2 weeks ago, last weekend, not this past weekend, last weekend, I took a trip to basically, you might as well say Boston, Massachusetts for Beyond Wrestling. They had one of their studio tapings. The reason why I mention that is because, February will be 10 years for me. I've been wrestling for 10 years. And I drove all the way to Boston from my house, which is another 16-hour trip. I don't know what it is about those kind of trips that I love to do. But for some reason, I really like to be on the road, obviously. But I drove to Boston for the Beyond Wrestling studio taping. I will go ahead and let our listeners and stuff get them a glimpse behind the wall, I guess, or behind the curtain. The studio tapings are not paid shows, basically. They're basically shows in front of the boards, in front of other wrestlers and stuff, so that, the powers that be at Beyond Wrestling can see what you can actually do and stuff. I was very proud to actually get a chance to be a part of their studio taping. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because on social media, you always hear a lot of people complaining about this business is dying. Talking about, this business is going to be dead in the next 10 years, and there's not going to be any wrestling, et cetera, et cetera. Let me be the first one to tell you that the future of professional wrestling has probably never looked better. The quality of guys, and of course, there were a couple of duds and stuff, but the quality of guys that was there was amazing. The quality of not just, talent and skill in the ring, but gimmicks, looks, guys. You can tell the guys are really taking, even if they're not, body guys and bodybuilders, whatever. A lot of the guys look like they at least, work out. And if they don't work out and they're big guys like me, they look big. Guys were, helping out with agenting other guys' matches and giving guys ideas for good spots, was giving guys responses, feedback on their matches and everything. I think that if anybody is listening to us, especially any young, talented wrestlers, any wrestlers, whether they've been in 1 year or 10 years or whatever, if they're very serious about, doing something in this business, they need to go to Beyond Wrestling. They need to just, say F it and make that drive to Boston, and just, see what it takes, see what you have to take. There were so many guys that had gimmicks there that I would never have imagined anybody doing. There was one guy who was basically doing the Adonis street gimmick and stuff. This one, have you ever seen the movie Friday? Ice Cube and stuff name?
I'm familiar with it. I don't know if I've actually ever seen it, though.
Okay, have you ever seen the movie Friday or the Friday franchise?
Of course.
Okay, so there was a guy there. You seen Friday the next day had like the Hispanic guys and stuff?
Right.
Kev?
Right.
Okay, there was a guy there that was dressed just like a Mexican vato. He wrestled in Dickies and a wife beater. He had wrestling boots, white wrestling boots that they were actual boots that looked like Chuck Taylor, but they were leather. And then he had a beanie on his head. And this guy wrestled an entire 15-minute match, and his beanie never left his head. I popped the entire time.
Wow.
Usually, Zane, we all talk about we want to see guys in wrestling gear or whatever. But this guy had a great look and completely worked that gimmick. And if I would have seen him, if I'd have been a fan or whatever, and I'd seen him come on the curtain, I'd have been pissed off. But watching him in that environment at Beyond Wrestling, I totally got the gimmick. There were so many great guys. Congo Kong that travels, or Congo, I'm sorry, Wildman Congo that travels with Brutal Bob Evans was there and stuff, handing out critique and stuff and helping guys out and everything. Dijak was there, giving out critiques and helping guys out. I mean, it was just amazing, man. Like, I can't wait to go back and stuff, man, and show them how I've improved and stuff, not only as a wrestler, my in-ring skills, but I got a lot of good advice about how to advance the Incredible Hulk gimmick.
Well, that's awesome. Now, at WrestleCade, is there anybody that you're marking out to meet?
Let's see, anybody I'm marking out to meet? I don't know. I met Arn Anderson last year, and that's my hero when it comes to wrestling. Like, I mean, I'm a huge Arn Anderson guy, and I've already met Ric Flair several times. I'm thinking who at WrestleCade am I really waiting to see?
How about Bobby Eaton? He's scheduled to be there.
Yeah, Bobby Eaton's been there a couple of years. Maybe I'm really hoping that Bob Caudle is going to be there actually again. He's been there the last 2 years, and hopefully he's there again. I really enjoyed talking to him. Like, he's a great storyteller. He knows, like, of course, you know, he was back in the old territory days, and he has so many great stories. I'm looking forward to hanging out with Chase Stevens. He's supposed to be there if he ever gets out of North Dakota. Like, right now, he's trapped in North Dakota in some big, huge snowstorm in North Dakota. But if he ever gets there, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
How about Kevin Sullivan?
I met Kevin Sullivan when I did the ROH Best in the World pay-per-view. I was actually a young boy, and they made me go get coffee for Kevin Sullivan.
All right. How about Nick Patrick or Dave Pinzer from WCW?
No. Actually, you know what? I'm lying. You know who I'm really marking out to see?
Who?
Cody Rhodes. I'm actually marking out to see Cody Rhodes, actually.
Okay.
I'm really, really marking out to see him, to tell you the truth. Because, you know, I've seen a lot of his matches and stuff that he's done since he's been on the indies and stuff. And so, like, everything that I've heard about him is that he's really humble and he's really cool and he's really laid back and stuff. And he doesn't have, like, that whole superstar attitude. So I'm really kind of excited to meet Cody Rhodes and stuff.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry I keep bringing up old wrestling, but they had an interesting. Have you seen M-Dog Matt Cross's Instagram or Facebook the last couple of days?
No, I haven't.
He is their world champion, and he took on Judge Hugo Lexington Black, who is portrayed by Ricky Shane Page, who's a great deathmatch wrestler, but this had nothing to do with deathmatch. Judge Hugo L. Black was confined to a wheelchair, and it was a best 2 out of 3 falls. And they did a bunch of spots involving the wheelchair, including a suplex. It was amazing. And then after the second fall, so between the second and third falls, Dr. Jacob Oman came out with an elixir to cure Judge Black's legs, and it was one of the most interesting matches I've ever seen. So once that hits YouTube or DVD, you'll have to definitely check that out.
Actually, you know, I will. Actually, Zane, I stand corrected. You know who I'm actually looking forward to seeing at WrestleCade?
Who?
Eric Bischoff.
Okay. Why are you looking forward to seeing him?
He is. I would like to think that he is a businessman. If you look at wrestling, you know, of course you can get wrestling advice as far as your gimmick and wrestling moves and stuff, and how to get booked or whatever WWE is looking for. You can get that from a lot of the legends and stuff. But business-wise, how to make money in this business is something that I think that Eric Bischoff excels at.
Okay.
You know, he was a behind-the-scenes guy, and then he finagled his way to being an on-camera guy. But, you know, even though you can basically, you know, you can make an argument saying that he ruined WCW, whatever, but the guy knows how to make money. So I'm really looking forward to meeting him, and hopefully I can get a chance to ask him a question or two.
Okay. Have you seen Big Sean Studd work before?
Have I seen Big Sean Studd is my homie. Are you crazy? I am a huge Sean Studd fan. You know, look at my pictures on Facebook. I see him I'm like, every time he comes to North Carolina, I see him. Like,
Okay,
Sean's
well,
son.
so you're going to see him this weekend. You need to see if his schedule is free on a Tuesday evening.
Of course, no problem.
Awesome.
Every time I see Sean, I kind of chew him out a little bit.
About what?
Every once in a while.
What do you chew him out about?
Well, because, first of all, if you see him, he looks exactly like his father, Big John Studd. Looks exactly like his father. Not as broad-chested, not as broad-chested as his dad or whatever. Doesn't have as much muscle mass, not as broad as his dad. But body style, height, long hair, whatever, looks exactly like his dad. And I get so mad at him because I'm like, hey, Sean, you should probably be in Orlando. I respect the fact that, you're trying to get experience on the Indies and you were trained by Booker T down in Texas and ROW, but it's about time that you leave all of us alone and go travel to Orlando. It always makes me mad. Every month when he shows up at the show and I'm like, why are you still here? Like, why are you not in Orlando yet? Like, come on, man. Like, you're freaking killing me. But I love the guy. I think that he has a world of potential. I think that I can't wait to see when he actually goes to Orlando and Triple H and William Regal actually get their hands on him, man. I can't wait to see what they're going to mold him into.
Okay. Well, that leads us into the big question of the week. Since we are just a few days removed from Thanksgiving, Huck, what are you thankful for this year?
I am thankful for heavy-duty Lycra, a.k.a. spandex, and patent leather boots. I'm thankful for every promoter who has booked me throughout this year so far, and every wrestler that I've had a chance to not only meet but work with in the ring. I'm so thankful for the opportunities that I've been given. It's still, even after almost 10 years, it's amazing that a guy like me from the projects in New Bern, North Carolina, gets a chance to travel the country and very soon the world, play fighting, for lack of a better word, for wearing spandex and play fighting. It's a completely humbling experience. I'm so thankful, for the Wrestling Nerdcast, for guys like, for you, most of all, for you and Killer Cav, who continue to mentor me in this crazy world of, internet broadcasting and, giving me tips on how to be a better interviewer and how to conduct a better interview, and having faith that, I can carry my own weight on this show. I didn't imagine, when I actually met you guys and talked to you, almost 3 years ago, Zane, that, I would still be doing this. I thought this would be something that I would do for like 6-7 months, and then you guys would kind of boot me off the air. But I'm totally, completely thankful for you and Kev, who I think is one of the hardest working producers, not only in podcasting, but in just media, period. Like, Zane, he puts up with a lot of stuff that we do, that we give him and stuff. And I can't thank you enough, Killer Kev. And I'm thankful for my family who is still supporting me, chasing my dream and stuff after 10 years and, not really complaining so much when daddy's gone or their husband's gone, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, leaving, putting the kids in the bus Friday and then not coming home until, late Sunday night, early Monday morning with just enough time to see my kids off to school and sometimes not even then. So, that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for professional wrestling. I'm thankful for my fans. I'm thankful for you guys. And I'm thankful for my family.
Well, that's great. I am thankful for Angry Marks for giving us this platform. I'm definitely thankful for Killer Kev for, as you said, putting up with our silliness every week. I'm thankful for Stevie J for giving us the time slot that was inhabited by our previous show. I'm thankful for the Prophet Rick Craig for giving us our start here. And obviously I'm thankful for you, Will, for being there each and every week for us. And you definitely hold your own on this show. And I'm thankful for guys like Sign Guy and Drew Skills that are doing what they need to do for their families. And hopefully that they'll have some time to join us later on as this show progresses. Obviously, I'm thankful for my family, for my wife for putting up with this silliness, my kids for playing along sometimes, I'm thankful for the promoters that give this rookie ring announcer a shot, and I have so much fun, and I'm thankful for all the workers out there that put on shows for us fans, putting their bodies on the line to entertain us, and it's just so much fun doing what we're doing, and we love it all. I'm thankful for the WWE Network for actually letting me watch pay-per-views. It used to be that when they were $50 or $60 a piece, I just didn't watch them. Now I get them all for $9.99 a month. I need to check out New Japan New Japan World for that $9.99 yen. I'm thankful that there are opportunities for wrestlers to be out there, whether it's on independent shows in local gyms and armories, whether it's TV tapings, whether it's Ring of Honor, TNA, Lucha Underground, that they give those spots available to them to be able to make a living for their families. So I'm thankful for that.